GOP candidates for Speaker of the House are expected to speak at a forum on Capitol Hill later today. All 9 lawmakers who have announced they're vying for the job are members of the conservative Republican Study Committee. Scott MacFarlane is on Capitol Hill with the latest.
Hey, good morning, Anne-Marie.
Hello. Sorry, I wasn't sure. You weren't up quite right away, so I wasn't sure if you were going to be there or not, Scott, but I'm glad you are. All right, so let's talk about this. Is there a front runner yet with 9 people wanting this job?
Anne-Marie, I'm always here for you. Always, always, always. No, there's not a front runner, and that's going to be a fundamental problem as this week begins. You got 9 people, one of whom has to emerge and get 217 votes to become the next speaker, which means he will have to run the table basically with House Republicans. And I do mean he. These are 9 candidates. All of them are men, all of them from the Republican Study Committee, the conservative group inside the Republican conference. Some of these members, to put it charitably, are backbenchers. They are new to Congress, been here only a few years. They have maybe, in some cases, low-level Republican leadership positions, but the man in the top center, Tom Emmer, maybe he can emerge as a front runner because he's the House Republican whip, which means he has a leadership infrastructure in place, but he's one of just 2 of those 9, Anne-Marie, who voted to he voted to certify the 2020 election results. 7 of the 9 voted to decertify the election, which means Emmer and then the other, Austin Scott of Georgia, might run afoul of some of Donald Trump's supporters inside the conference. So that's going to be an issue to iron through. They'll have candidate meetings and pitches tonight. The earliest we'll see a secret ballot vote from Republicans, and potentially a series of them, is tomorrow morning.
So I have to admit that this is the first time I'm learning about the Republican Study Committee. I want you to tell me a little bit more about them, but it also occurred to me that the Republican Party seems to be kind of coughing up the same type of candidate over and over and over again, which hasn't worked out so far. If they all sort of share the same kind of conservative philosophy, how are they going to differentiate between each other?
That's a great question, and ultimately that may be another drawback for Congressman Emmer, the Republican whip. He's watched 2 other members of leadership, the former Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, try to either keep or get this job and fail. The Republican Study Committee is a group that is known for seeking out and advocating for smaller budgets, less spending. Oh, by the way, the next speaker is going to have to figure out how much to spend to keep the government open when that November 17th deadline for a government spending bill comes due. This is one of those interesting, to put it charitably, negotiations the House Republican Conference will have, not just over who should be the leader, how he should lead, but also what policies he's going to advocate. That makes this all particularly messy and challenging, as if it weren't challenging enough to winnow down a 9-person field to 1, and to do it soon.
Yeah, and one of the things that I had thought about kind of watching this process is they might need to revisit the rules. That rule that allowed, 1 representative to start this whole thing, they might want to tweak that a little bit. And we talked earlier about, some sort of commitment that whoever the nominee is, they'll actually back him when they go to the larger House vote. Has there been any discussion of that?
And that had been the rule for generations, that whoever wins the secret ballot gets the whole party behind him when they go to the floor. That seems to have fractured over the past few months, which is why we're now 20 days into a standoff over who should be the next House Speaker. There's no agreement on who to back once they pick a nominee. They've picked 2 nominees in the past couple of weeks. Both failed ahead of getting the 217 votes. Should they change the rules that 1 person can evict the House Speaker? They may consider that. Some of the candidates may pitch a change in rules to prevent this type of chaos in the future. But that really is the fundamental issue, Anne-Marie. It's not just a one-time thing. The House Speaker has to have the support of those 217 throughout the process of doing the job. When tough votes come on debt ceiling, keep the government open, pass controversial bills. If somebody can't summon a real resilient 217 votes, that speaker is doomed to fail.
All right. I feel like it's going to be a long week, a long day leading to a long week. Scott, thank you very much.
Thank you.